Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of You Look Lovely Today.
Thank you.
This is our first episode after getting married.
Yes, and somewhere else that's not our home.
Yes. Oh yeah, we're also in Bali. Pacha's sister got us a little mini moon here in Bali. We wanted to show off the hotel room a little bit, and yeah, we're doing it here.
It's very nice and cozy.
Yeah, I really like it. It's
Yeah,
really
me
nice.
too. I mean, it's kind of like fun too. This is
Yeah.
our first time, like Justin said, so let's try something new and see.
Yeah. So last week we had our little lavalier mics, and this time I want to travel and bring some bigger mics, but still a little bit different than what we're usually doing. We're going to try to keep the handling noise on the microphones a little low. And yeah, so
I'm a
let's
bit
get
nervous,
started.
so
Don't
I
be
tried.
nervous.
I know, but I'm trying to hold on to it and not
Yeah.
moving at all.
No, yeah, it's okay. Yeah, so it's like tomorrow will be our 1 month anniversary of our wedding.
Oh my god,
And
time
yeah,
flies.
wow. So now in a few months we'll be able to give some insight as a married couple. Mm-hmm. No, I don't really feel like anything's different after being married.
That's true. Everyone keep asking if
So just having a ring now is nice.
he's like a golem, like my precious.
I love this ring.
I know. I like it too. And I mean, I like looking at you wearing it.
I think because also men don't really have a lot of jewelry, so it's like
So maybe, who knows,
Accessorize,
next
yeah.
time you're going to have like necklace, earrings.
yeah. Maybe I'll just like hang it here. Yeah. All right. Okay. So I just picked up some random stories, something that would be interesting just to read and react to.
Okay.
Okay. So we'll start off from the usual. This one's from Am I the Asshole? Okay. So this one is titled Am I the Asshole for telling my girlfriend to get a life? This is by user no contribution 4547. Me, 27 male, and my girlfriend, 27 female, let's call her Beth, have been together for a year now.
I'm sorry. What's the age again?
They're both 27. 27. We've both been together for a year now. When we met, she was very much her own woman with a bartending job, her own group of friends, and own hobbies. Now, granted, this wasn't the best thing because she was in a bit of a toxic era, and she hated her job. But in time, she got rid of all that toxicity and got a better job. From the start, our relationship clinginess has been an issue. She only worked weekends and I have a 9-to-5 work from home. So basically that meant that she was around me every hour of every day except for the 12 to 18 hours combined she worked on the weekends. To make it worse, she was not a good presence at home. Even if she even bothered to leave my room, because there were several days where she would literally not move unless it was to use the bathroom. She would badger me while I'm working, try to show me memes or have convos. I had to tell her multiple times that just because I'm work from home doesn't mean that my work requires any less focus and that this isn't quality time while I play on my computer. The thing is, I wasn't even angry because I knew there were some bad elements in her life, and maybe this was her escape. So over time, we had some great conversations, she made better friends, and she left her old job for a day job that she loved. So we got our space. Things regressed after Christmas break. Basically, she decided to take an indefinite sabbatical, so now she's here 24/7. She almost never goes to her own apartment, never hangs out with her friends, and never does her hobbies. I asked about her mental health and even offered to put her in touch with my old therapist, but she insists she's fine. She just likes not having to do anything. I brought up that she should be spending time with her friends or at the very least enjoying her hobbies. She insists she's not interested. Once again, I brought up the conversation about us having our own lives even though our relationship is the priority. She's basically like, well, yeah, of course, but no attempt at changing. Things came to a boiling point yesterday when she kept trying to show me memes while I was working, and I snapped and told her to get that. I told her to get that shit out of my face. She got really angry and said it was ridiculous to get mad over your girlfriend trying to spend time with you. And I told her it's ridiculous for a grown woman to be shoving memes into her boyfriend's face all day. I said that she needs to get a life and stop being so codependent. It very much hurt her. I can tell that right away. I apologized, but I couldn't really console her because I was literally about to be in a meeting. She ended up going to her apartment while I was on Zoom, and she hasn't returned my calls or texts. I genuinely think my anger came from a valid place, but I felt like I shouldn't have snapped like that, especially when memes are part of our love language and everything seems to have just escalated so quickly. I don't know. Am I the asshole? I feel like I've been both.
Yeah, I think so. Because I can relate to that. Like I think both of us can relate to that when we want attention from the others, because there were a point in time that we work at home together. And I mean, back at his place, we work in the same office, right? So I would be on calls or I would do my work, concentrating, vice versa. I think that we snapped at each other before, but I think at the end we always apologized. That, oh, I'm so sorry that I snapped at you and whatnot. But I think for his case, why are you smiling?
No, I'm just listening.
I think for his case, it's just more advanced because she doesn't work. Maybe she couldn't relate it to why it's a bit distracted for him and why he snapped. So I don't think he's an asshole in this case, but yeah, like maybe he didn't scream at her, but I think it caught her off guard and she doesn't understand what he's going through. So it's fair for him to feel that way, that he needs space in the sense of like when he's working, but maybe they should talk in a different, like take a step back and then, hey, let me just work first. And then if we find time, let's just talk about it and see how we do things. Because I think that he also, that I'm afraid that at one point he might think that she's his burden, I mean, we also want our own space, right? Like for us, I mean, as much as we love each other as a husband and wife, but I think that we also need our own space, that I go do my own exercise, you do your own, even though you want me to join you, but it's still fine for us to also do things on our own.
I think we talked about how when we have like long term, it's important that we feel like we still retain our individuality, our identities, that we're not like, so I think some people get lost in relationships. But anyways, I want to say the reason I was laughing is that, my love language sometimes.
Oh, it's meme.
No, my love language is me, but my love language also is, I don't know if it's all guys, but I feel like I love to annoy you, or like I like to bring that out of you, but I don't want you to get mad, but knowing that I'm annoying you for some reason brings me joy.
You're a psychopath.
But yeah, so when I think, I'm sure a lot of couples dealt with this during COVID, work from home and stuff like that.
I'm sorry, I moved the mic.
It's okay. And stuff like that. And so that's definitely a learning process, but I think we talked about it, and when we talked about it, I really took it to heart that like, okay, certain meetings is very important, especially if you're like on camera and like it's not helpful, or I don't want to make. I think if you communicate that like, hey, I want to make your life easier. So when you're saying that like, oh, this kind of thing, these distractions make my work, I feel more stressed, then I feel like, okay, that's not what I want to do, So I listened to her, and I don't want to sound like a broken record, but we always talk about communication. And I think when the guy first brought up his girlfriend, it was like, not big issues, like, hey, it's a little annoying, but like, I'm letting you know that like, I'm
like
still
FYI.
working. Yeah. And I think she happened to get a job, or I don't know if she proactively got a job, and that helped. And then now that she doesn't have a job, she's like, he's communicating again, but she's not really like taking it to heart. And I get it. Like there's times when like I want to show you a meme, and I was like, just like take a second to like watch this with me. It's funny. And then
there's many times that he really was angry at me, but
no,
you're not angry at me, but there will be time that I'm like can I just do something first? And
Yep.
then you're like, can you just concentrate at this?
Okay, no, this is different because it's not like this is not when she's at work, but sometimes like at the end of the day, we're wrapping up. I'm like, hey, let's go through the 100 memes that I sent you today, and
So I give him a quota to send memes to me, maybe 10 maximum per day, because or else it's too much. I mean, if I went through it already, the first 10, it's fine. But if I haven't, save it. So he have his
Yeah.
collection, and so do I. I
pro
have
tip,
it too.
pro tip. If you feel like you're overwhelming your partner or your friends with memes or whatever reels and stuff like that, just create a save folder. And when you ever have a lull at dinner or something like that, you can go through some memes.
Because you know what, I want to comment to those story that you send it to me. But when, for example, if it was like yesterday or whatever, when I reply to that, it will go to the recent message. So I have to scroll back to find it. So that's why I'm like, maybe let's send it in waves, and like let's make sure that I went through it already before the next one, cause I also want to reply.
Right.
Actually,
I think my greatest joy comes from
making me angry.
making you annoying you and cringing you. No, but I really enjoy when we watch it together because then I really want to see your reaction. But then
isn't it nicer like if before we go to bed, before we watch movie or whatever, you just show it to me, just save it all, and then we can.
Okay, I don't know if other people can relate, but I feel like when sometimes when we watch it together, I can feel that like you're rushing through them. And
it makes you.
And then sometimes I'm like, because sometimes the funny part, it's like, okay, the meme is funny, but then going through the comments and reading people's reaction, it's like a multiplier.
That's true.
Like,
that's true. Like
so
some of them, yes.
But then sometimes you don't even bother to look at the comments. So, anyways, we're working on that. So back to this, communication is key. He really needs to communicate with her that this is not appropriate behavior. And I think also I don't know how long their relationship was together, but I think moving in together is a big step, and.
But they're not moving in together. It's just that
I think she unofficially,
yeah.
Like she just kind of like never goes home.
Do you think, just be very honest with me, if we have to stay together 24/7, do you think that we can go through it together? 24/7 is a lot.
I think I'm okay. If it was like a small room, but I mean, we have our own corner to do work, stuff like that, I think it's okay. Because we kind of had that during like COVID, lockdown, stuff like that. But you're the one that was more...
No, even COVID, we have space.
Yeah. True, but I'm okay like not going out. I don't think us being together would drive you crazy, but I think that you... Or at least with COVID, like you were kind of depressed, like meeting with friends, going out, stuff like that. Where for me, it was like awesome. And even when they relaxed the restrictions, and it was like, okay, we can go out, but curfews at like at 10 p.m. I was like, that's so good. Like whenever we go out with our friends, it's like no matter how crazy it is, I know I'm gonna be back home by 10.
No, I remember that during COVID, and I think we already together, right? Or no? I don't know. I can't remember. But then I text you that, yeah, today I don't feel great. I feel depressed because I didn't get a chance to see or talk to anyone. And you're like, unrelatable.
Yeah,
you can't relate to that.
I don't really understand that.
It's just sad, just being like you cannot socialize with anyone. That's why, like, thank God that me and Cake, one of my best friends, we start to play tennis together. So we always find excuses like, oh my God, we're just gonna go to like supermarket, and we went to like one of like not the farthest, but like there's some places like closer, but we just like we want to take a ride.
Just to like get out of the house. Mm-hmm. I think we're getting sidetracked, but I honestly, COVID I think was my most fruitful like socialization time because I was so lucky that right before COVID I actually bought my first like gaming PC, and then I had it set up with like microphone and a monitor, so I was like perfect time. And then I was playing games, and it seemed like everybody was on, and then nobody was doing anything, so a lot of people were like talking and chatting, and then I made a bunch of friends that I don't talk to anymore, but it was crazy. Like you would like talk to them every day and and just play games, stuff like that.
It was a fun chapter.
Yeah, and I never learned their real names. It's just like that's it. And then they were gone, and then
Perfect.
honestly, it's fine. But yeah. So, okay. So back to this topic. So, I mean, my advice, okay, number one, my advice to him, if he was here right now, would be like, if this, you have to be open to the possibility that this relationship is not going to work out. I mean, she might be not in a place, she might not be in a place where, or she might not be compatible with you in a sense that like she may be or her love language is that like, you know, clinginess.
I don't think that
it's not like a
it's
deal
to
breaker.
that point. Yeah, I think it just they need to compromise, you know. And I think that like what you're saying is right, that communication is the key, but I don't think it's a deal breaker. I think it's just like one hiccups, you know. They just need to talk, but yeah, it's just they are going through something. She is going through something, so hopefully that she can get help that she need, either from a talking therapist, or maybe she need to find a hobby, you know. But I mean, I'm not a really home person, so I don't know how, because I always love activities and doing something, or like going out for a little bit. So I think she needed drive. It doesn't mean that she needs to find a job, but yeah, having a job is also like keep yourself distracted. Yeah, but maybe he has to admit that he's also her comfort zone.
True. I mean, there might be more to the story. Maybe something happened with the work that you would just take an indefinite sabbatical. Or maybe something negative happened with a coworker, and she's like wants to be away from people for a while, and yeah, maybe he's not receptive to that. But yeah, I think that it could. I don't know if it's like a sign of maturity. For example, like I don't really go out with a lot of friends, but I don't feel like I'm clingy. I think
Says who?
says me. But like, so I, I feel like being clingy and then being in the same space is not always the same thing. Like, for example, we could be stuck at home together, but I'm not overloading your personal space, or like, I'm not like bothering all the time. I can sit in the corner and, do my own stuff, So I think I don't know if that's like a maturity thing, or maybe there's something that she wants to, or I mean, something that she needs that she's not, receiving from him. And so it's turning into like her just kind of like nagging for attention and stuff like that. But I think it's also, the fact that she's kind of like, oh, it's just memes, like it's not a big deal, means that she's kind of like maybe hasn't been paying attention to like what he's been saying. Yeah. And that's important, that we have to, I think I told you this once before, that when you are talking to someone about whatever their fear or trauma or whatever it is, you kind of have to view it through their eyes. For example, when I was freaked out about a cockroach, and then you're not that scared of the cockroach, you cannot be like, you cannot just be like, just get over it, it's a cockroach. You kind of have to like empathize, be like, okay, like how should we approach the situation as someone that's scared? Because you kind of have to like deal with the lowest denominator. So same thing with like, if we were doing like, a bicycle trip, and it's kind of like, why can't you just learn to ride a bike? But Pacha doesn't know how to ride a bike. So it's kind of like you have to deal with. So, yeah, I don't know if, like she may feel like it's not a big deal distracting his work, but if he's going through like some high pressure system, some time, whatever, at work, and he's feel like I really need to focus, then she should respect that.
Noted.
Yeah. Okay. That's pretty much it for that one. So main thing is just break up, find someone else. No, I'm kidding. I'm joking.
Talk. I'm joking.
Communicate. Okay. The comments are pretty much the same thing. Pretty much saying that you need to establish boundaries in relationships, which is true, and communicate. Okay. Moving on to the next one. This is from the r/dating advice by Who's a Step Bro He? Bro Why? Oh, Who's a Step Bro Why? Okay. Am I wrong for not wanting to date a Hooters girl Hooters is a like
I think I know.
oh, you know, we have it.
We have it.
Yeah,
we have it
Okay.
in Thailand. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Am I wrong for not wanting to date a Hooters girl? Met some new people recently through mutual friends, hit it off with one of the girls, and we were talking for a week or so before I found out she works at Hooters, which is a huge turnoff for me. I don't know, the atmosphere of them running around in skimpy clothes to get food tips from sleazy dudes oogling them just turns me off. The day after I found out, she said we should go out, and I turned her down much to her disappointment, apparently. My friends were all giving me shit, and when I told them my reasoning, most of the girls all said I was being shallow, and my boys were calling me gay, lol. Luckily, the girl herself was cool about it, but everyone shitting on me is not cool. I mean, at the end of the day, it's my decision, but I don't know. I'm asking if it's actually shallow or what. Yeah. So,
What's your take?
What's your take?
What's your take?
My take is number one is you have your own values and you are attracted to whoever you're attracted to, and people have to respect that, you know. And I don't think it's a big deal to just be like, I don't like. And sometimes, honestly, you don't need to be honest about the reason, you know. For example, if you go on a date with someone and you're just not attracted to them, you don't have to be like, I'm not attracted to you. You can just be like, you know, the chemistry is not there.
Yeah.
But at the same time,
it's kind of like mess up with their self-esteem.
Yeah. So I can see some people taking it, for example, if she worked at Hooters or whatever, and the guy's like, ooh, I don't want to date a girl at Hooters. And she might take it another step and be like, what, you think I'm like a slut or something like that, you know? But at the same time, there's people, for example, that on one extreme, in my family, I have some family members that are very religious, and they're like, you know, they don't want to be physically intimate before marriage. And I know some people that would not be okay in a relationship like that. And so it just comes to respecting other people's it just comes to respecting other people's values and belief. Yeah. And I'm glad, I hope the other girl didn't take it personally. It just happens that people
Am I too close to you?
No, okay, so you did notice. Okay, so I'm moving because sometimes we have like, if another microphone picks up the other speaker, it's like going to call like crossbleed.
Oh,
and so
okay.
sometimes I had to deal with that the last episode a little bit. It's not terribly difficult to deal with.
I just feel so distant.
No, it's okay.
I'm sorry.
Okay, we can be a little bit closer here.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Wait, here, watch this.
Okay. Thanks, bro.
Yeah, what's up, dude? Anyways, so yeah, so and
You forgot?
no, and then so and people that are saying that he's shallow, I would say is not. I personally think it's a valid reason to not want to date someone. I think it'd be worse if like 3 months later he's like, you know, he's not happy with her going to work, and then she's like, relationship issue is like, my boyfriend gets mad at me every time I need to go to work, and so like she's going to work and not feeling great about the relationship, and then he's like, you know, jealous and resentful, whatever. It's like, this could all have been solved in the very beginning if the guy is like, you know what, I don't really like a girl that works at I don't really like the idea of a girl that's working at Hooters. And then she's just kind of like, great, I don't want to be with someone that doesn't appreciate, or, you know, is going to be jealous, or, you know, or judging me.
Just work.
Yeah. So honestly, it's kind of best case scenario. This is kind of the way that things should work, is that you should be honest about your feelings and just deal with it when it's like something small like this, right?
Yeah, I totally on the same page as you, because I think that I actually appreciate his honesty, because I mean, it's better than they dated for a year and then he have an issue like, oh, since day one, this is what I don't like. But he states the fact that because of this, you know, etc. blah blah blah, I get it where you're saying that maybe he doesn't have to be super truthful, but maybe it's good because maybe some other peoples are like, oh, this is actually, like, I don't want to be anxious about it. And I mean, it's fine that he doesn't like it because, like, I mean, you are concerned about your girlfriend's, let's say, security and safety. So I think it's fair that he feels that way. And he just stated that. And it's better than he's like forcing her later to like, no, leave your job. Just, like, just find a new job. I mean, like, now it's better for both of them. And also maybe it's better for her too, that maybe there are some other past relationships that it didn't work out because of where she's working. I don't think that it's bad, but it's somehow, it's like when I thought about how some people, like strippers or like doing porn, I mean, it just work, right? But some people are okay with it, but some aren't, which is fair. I mean, maybe this is like not what you're okay with, that it's fine to be honest about it with yourself and also like who you want to be your partner. Yeah, so I think it's I don't think he's shallow, but I mean of course if you want to date someone for a fling, then just do it, but I think he's fair. That's what I think, that he's fair.
Yeah, I have to commend his honesty, and he's being very honest to himself. Yeah, porn is an extreme example. I think one that maybe people can relate to is dating a girl that maybe does modeling or like casual modeling. And nowadays with like Instagram, there's a lot of girls that are like becoming amateur models and like doing photo shoots and stuff like that. And
What kind of photo shoot?
I mean, from anything from just like maybe swimwear or just clothes or like, whatever. I think everyone's trying to be an influencer nowadays, or most people. And, some guys are, probably might be like, oh, I don't like it when she wears this kind of, or posts these kind of pictures on Instagram and stuff like that, where, I think I've seen it where, a girl is a model or something and she already like has these kind of pictures before, like swimwear or underwear that she's done work. Nothing like too provocative, but obviously like this person, before they started dating, they knew about like her work previously. And then after they started dating, the boyfriend's all of a sudden like, I don't like you doing this kind of stuff. I don't want you doing this kind of stuff. And then she kind of like, it's kind of like my work, and whether or not I think some guys might feel like, oh, it's just like a part-time or a hobby. But if that's what she finds joy in doing, and that's something like that, it's like, then that's another thing that like you need to be honest about yourself. In the beginning, if you're like, I mean, you shouldn't really go into a relationship thinking that you're gonna like change someone. Like, okay, great, she's sexy on Instagram, and I'm gonna date her, and then I'm gonna change her. It's like that's not. You have to be honest with yourself. And then yeah. So I actually feel like all his friends are wrong, and honestly, people should respect the fact and actually be proud of the fact that he's just straight up, instead of being like, "Ooh, I don't like it," and then maybe taking advantage of, or like not taking advantage of her, but just being like leading her on, maybe like, let's try a relationship, knowing deep down like I don't really want to date a girl like this.
True.
So
yeah, I mean, I appreciate his honesty. I think it's better.
I mean, I think this also goes the other way. Like, what about a girl dating a guy and then finding out like he doesn't make a certain amount of money, and then being like, oh, I don't want to date a guy that doesn't make a lot of money. But then I don't know, I'm lonely or whatever, and so like, let's try to date. Or
do you think about?
No, I know. I think we've had this kind of experience. Not we, but I think like someone that we know. Or remember when I sent you that meme? No, that IG, where like they're pretty much like, I know we're not gonna work together, but we're gonna try anyways, and we're both gonna end up like hurting each other. But yeah, I think it happens a lot nowadays, where the mind is telling us that this is not a good idea, but the heart or whatever is just like,
want to try.
Yeah, or like, yeah, just you're making me feel like good now.
Yeah,
it's like very short term, even though like long term we're like honest with ourselves, it's like, yeah, it's not going to work. But good on you. So yeah, good job, dude, for being honest. Yeah. Not the asshole, even though this is not one of those questions. Okay. So dating advice is, I mean, you're doing good. Maybe you can still be friends with her and you might click with one of her friends. I also told people when they were asking me about dating advice is that, oh, I'm not meeting the right guy, or like when they date, it's like, I don't want to date this, or I don't want to go out or meet this person because, you know, I don't like them, or I'm not going to like them. Like I said, so I tell them like, you know, sometimes you may not like that person, but that person's friend or cousin might be the person that you like. So just like, don't reject expanding your circle, you know? So that's my advice would be just keep trying, just keep dating, but at the same time being honest. And we're back. This is our last story for today, just a short episode. And actually it's a perfect mood because now that the sun is going down,
it's very moody.
We're going to try one more story. And then we haven't done this before on this podcast, but this is from the subreddit Let's Not Meet. I think we had one episode before. I think it was dating advice where the girl was dealing with like kind of a stalker guy.
I can't remember.
Where the girl was being followed by the gym, and the guy was like, it's like she was telling the guy that like, hey, I don't like you, and he kept on like following her, like stalking. Yeah. So it's kind of like that. So I think it's still relevant. I think it's good life experience for people dealing with dating, because sometimes dating is scary. And so here's another story. It's a little long, but okay, just sit back and enjoy. Okay, so this last one's from the Let's Not Meet subreddit, and it's called A Near Home Invasion While Staying Alone.
Sorry, what's the...
A near home invasion while staying alone.
Alone.
I, 21 female. Don't know how long this will be. It took me about 4 days to be able to actually type this out. Got weird mini anxiety attacks when I tried. I'll be the first to admit that I have had a very quote unquote can't happen to me complex, and that's kind of what occurred in this story. I'm a university student and I live in a rental house with 5 other people. It's far from ideal, but in this housing outcry that we're living in, it takes that sting off of us having to pay a bunch of money a month to exist in a box. This has relevancy, I swear. I got extremely lucky last weekend when the 5 of the roommates I had were all out for the weekend. This has never happened, so I was ecstatic to have the house to myself. I did the whole 21-year-old girl home alone stuff you can think of. Watching movies with the volume loud, taking long-ass showers, walking around the house without a bra, etc., etc. It was around 10 p.m. I had finished some homework and was relaxing with a glass of wine and watching some streaming services. It sounded briefly like there was something moving on the porch. We've had a fox in our yard before, and the thing used to make a lot of noise on our porch, so I assumed that to be the case. After hearing some fumbling the second time, I went over to check through the window. There was nothing there. As I'm turning to head back to the living room, a piece of cement flies through our kitchen window. I didn't know it was cement at the time, but not important. I think I peed myself a little bit when it happened, but I definitely screamed like a little girl. Mm-hmm. My moronic ass started unlocking the door to go outside, but common sense seized control of me again.
She unlocked the door?
I think she felt like something came through the window and she felt like, oh shit, I need to get out of the house. So she's like gonna go out. Mm-hmm. My moronic ass started unlocking the door to go outside, but common sense seized control of me again, and I locked the door back.
Okay.
I also ran to the back door to make sure it was still locked, even though it's glass and wouldn't make a difference. Oddly enough, at this time, my grandma's words came into my head about something her own mother had told her. If someone tries breaking into your house, turn the lights off. You know the inside of your house better than they do. I shut the lights off in the living room and managed to turn the TV off, which was hard because my hands were shaking. My dad used to give me and my siblings advice on protection measures, which were not resonating at this time. I secured myself in my upstairs bedroom, roast me if you want, and had turned all of the lights out in the house as I passed them. While walking up the stairs, I could hear the doorknob shaking fiercely from the front door.
Oh my God.
Maybe I should have a scary voice. don't know if there was more than one person or if they realized they couldn't jump the fence to get into the backyard. While calling for emergency services on speaker, I secured my hunting knife at the end of my hockey stick with hot pink duct tape. I know that's probably one of the most Canadian things I could say. If I was going to have to use it, at least it would look fabulous.
It's funny now.
It's cute, yeah. I stayed in the dark, holding my makeshift spear for which was probably 15 minutes. I'm really glad I wasn't being murdered in that amount of time. The operator told me police were coming, which they eventually did. Took a very unsettling amount of time. The only reason I left the bedroom in the first place was because I heard knocking on the door downstairs, and the police lights were flashing through the window. Otherwise, someone would have had to come and physically pull me out of the room. Statement was given, but that's all they did. Literally all they did. Literally all they did. Nothing else. Literally that. A very nice female officer stayed with me in the house and helped me clean up the glass until my brother showed up to bring me to his place for the rest of the weekend. So shout out to Officer Cutie with the tattoos. I made an appointment with a doctor to get out on anxiety medicine as well as medicine for nightmares. I know I wasn't in any physical danger at that point, but I've had some very charming dreams about similar scenarios, and I was just finding it easier to stay awake. Maybe that's juvenile of me, but I'm human. Meds are working fine, and I'm back at my house with wall-to-wall people again. And honestly, I don't hate that so much anymore. Please have fun and have a safe weekend. That's it. Not super scary.
Not super scary, but still, she's just 20 years. And then you're alone, in a big house. And then first time that it's like no one's there, you kind of have a lot of scenario going around your head. I can't relate to that, but I can feel like I can not sense, but I think I would know how it feels if it's happened. Like all the like you don't know what's happening, and then but her grandma gave a good advice, because I wouldn't think that. I probably turn on all the lights just to make sure that intruder thinks that so many people's in the house, that there's something, but actually maybe that's the right tips to do that.
I actually don't agree with that, but this is so I love the Let's Not Read subreddit, and I love scary stories, especially true scary stories. Just because it makes you think, it puts yourself in that situation, because
like
maybe
what you're gonna do.
Exactly, because it's like you get to learn from kind of like people's mistakes or stuff like that without having to put yourself in danger. So the reason why I brought this up into our podcast of like fluffy light relationship stuff was that I think a lot of people grow up with this idea of like, listening to stories but be like, it's never gonna happen to me, and it's just, everything, it never happens to you until it happens to you, so I think it's good to like put yourself in these scenarios and learn from it, especially if you feel like you're in a vulnerable, or if you feel like you can be vulnerable. For example, you don't know how to protect yourself.
Yeah.
And, so I think a lot of people grow up with this like secure, or this false sense of security that like things just don't happen to people like me or whatever. Because you never know. Like the house that I grew up in has been broken into a couple of times. Luckily, no one was home. Your house got broken into a couple of times, I think, and you guys were home one time, right? When you were younger,
always there.
You guys were always, yeah. So both times you guys were home. Luckily, no one got hurt and stuff like that. And you guys never confronted the person, right, that stole?
Not us, but our helpers.
Yeah.
They just saw and have eye contact, but
right.
The burglar escape. Not escape, but just like ran away after.
So I mean, so you got lucky. So if that burglar decided that they wanted to harm you guys, or they wanted to they didn't want to back down, it could have been a very different story,
We did. Yeah, we were very, very fortunate and then lucky. Yeah. No, but back to the scenario, you disagree with switch off all the lights. So what would be the ideal way to react to this, to confront this kind of situation?
So I mean, okay, if I put myself in the view of a burglar or someone, right, that's just gonna break in, or even if I was gonna go in to like do harm or something like that, I would pick a house that was secluded, dark, right? That I can break into and people aren't going to see me going around the house or like see me breaking the window. So if you're turning off your house, you're kind of making your house less visible versus where if you have the lights on, then number one, the person breaking in will be like, oh, there's someone here. Maybe I don't want to break in, because most people that are burglars, they're like, it's like a target of opportunity, and they're gonna want to pick the house that's, they don't want to make it more difficult or increase their chance of getting caught. Even if they're robbing a house of an old grandma, they'd rather do a house that's like nobody's home or no dog. So they say like just putting the dog sign is helpful to deter like break-ins, because people feel like, well, I don't want to deal with that, right? Why not just find a house without a dog?
See, that's why we have dogs at home.
I love dogs. And then, so for me, I feel like I would turn on the lights because I want them to be seen. And then you can also use like, for example, if you're going to turn on the lights, the room that I'm hiding in, I will leave it dark, but I'll turn on the other lights. So that way, for example, if they're coming down the hallway, you can use like their shadow as like to get a sense of where they are. Because the last thing you want to do is be hiding in the dark. Everything is dark.
And you can't see.
Yeah, and you don't know where they are. You don't know if they've left. You know if they're like still there. And so I think situational awareness is good. So I would actually turn off the lights. And if they go around, start turning off the lights, that also, whatever helps, that they're there. And it shows that their intention is, to stay, right? So yeah, for me personally, I feel like I would turn on at least some lights.
I'm thinking about the Home Alone situation. Home Alone would record or make loud noises to make sure that like scared people away that, oh, we actually have someone at home.
So I would say loud noises. Okay, if I'm really thinking this out, I would say loud noises after they've already gotten into the house is not good. I mean, if you want to make noises so that they know that someone's home, then I understand. But for example, I think we've listened to like murder documentaries where like when they're like killing people or torturing people, they turn up high music, to like cover the sounds.
Yeah.
And then that's again the thing of like situational awareness is that if you have the time, because it's your house, so you get to hide first. If you turn on loud music, then you can't hear when they're like coming up the steps or when they're walking around. So
no, but maybe not loud music, but maybe just
turn
some
the TV
background.
on.
Yeah, just a little bit that maybe we just record that specific part of like and
like
effects at home.
what's it in Home Alone where it's like that's like the shotgun noise, like get out of here, you filthy animals, like that. Something like that. I mean, it's better than nothing. But I mean, I think you have to also treat each situation separately. For example, if I had a weapon with a light and someone's coming in the house, maybe I want the lights off. Or if I have night vision. But for example, there might be moments where like you feel like, okay, it's an advantage to be in the dark, something like that, then okay, I'm not going to blanket statement be like always turn on the lights or definitely don't turn off the lights. But I think it's good to think through it.
But I think in this case of her, I think that it's good that she still pick up from like the environment, just be a bit, I mean, she still stay cautious in a way that like be
She's
mindful.
A fighter.
Like be also mindful of like, I mean, sometimes when you're alone, you're like, maybe you can just get drunk and, just enjoy the moment by yourself. But now she's still also on top of the game that I'm still like notice that, oh, I heard this, I heard that, So, I mean, it's good that you're still, even though like you're in your comfort zone, but you're still aware of the surrounding. Yeah.
I mean, it took something like this to like make her more aware. So I'm sure the next time something happens, she would like, instead of having that split second, like, oh, should I unlock or unlock? She's gonna be more like prepared mentally to go through it. That's what like people that like drill self-defense, it's like your body will react better because it's gone through before. Even though it's in a practice scenario. So the only reason why I added this to our podcast was because I always think of my sisters, or when I think of these kind of stories, or you, of course, and then I want to better their response to like these kind of situations, because like this girl, she went through it already, so the next time it happens she'll react better. But we don't have to let it happen to us. We can just like read these stories and kind of like, okay, like let's
I think it's good. Maybe we can do this more, or let's see if anyone comments.
Let's see if
And
someone
see.
breaks in tonight. No, I'm kidding.
Hey,
Okay.
why you say this kind of thing? I don't like
We're gonna
it.
make weapons out of that wine glass.
It's not funny. It's not funny.
Okay. And that's it. So my advice to her would be to
Turn on the light.
take care of yourself. And I mean, I really like that she made a weapon out of a hockey stick. That's pretty
Pretty
funny.
cool. Yeah. I mean, also try to make sure that like if anything's happened, because I know if anything happened, I know what kind of weapon I'm gonna use. I'll tell you later after the episode is done.
Strap on. No, stop it. Okay, so that's it. Thank you very much for tuning in to our 9th episode.
Is it 9 already?
Yeah,
Ooh.
that's one our 8th. And also Pacha cut her hair. I don't know if anyone noticed. Short hair, don't care. And so feel free to follow us on Instagram and YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify.
All streaming. No,
All
not
streaming.
streaming.
And leave comments. I like to reply to comments.
Please comment. You make Justin happy when you comment.
Yeah. Okay. And that's it. Or email us at contactyoulooklovelytoday.
If you have any story, it doesn't have to be a relationship one, but also can be this let's not meet. So
Yeah, stories, questions, and spam. No, I'm just kidding. Okay. Thank you very much. Bye. Have a good night. Bye.